some fabulous mental toughness tips we all can learn from Lindsey. Not only has she come out of retirement after 5.5 years away from her sport of downhill ski racing, she is coming back to her sport after a knee replacement, something that, well, I don't think has ever been done before.
I just wanted to see if it would work. And so we made these steps. I free skied, I started training in gates. I just kind of kept checking all these boxes on a list of things to do, and it felt great on every single step. So I wouldn't say I knew that I would be racing until October when I got to Europe and I did a second camp. Again, like managing my own expectations has probably been the hardest thing for me in this whole journey. But I just didn't want to jump too far ahead of myself. And I think that's what allowed me to slowly build into where I am now and be able to be racing.
You want to have an open mind to what is possible. Instead of demanding that this be possible, ask yourself what is possible. And you have a step-by-step checklist. I don't want to call them baby steps because they're not baby steps. They're actually big steps. But instead of making demands of yourself, do what Lindsey Vonn did and be open-minded to what can happen. That's the best way to manage your expectations. Again, I'm not telling you to completely remove your expectations. I don't know if that's possible. However, in addition to all the expectations and the wants and the desires that you have, see if you can lead with an open mind. What is possible? What can happen? And then you'll have your step-by-step. Step number 1, check. Step number 2, check. Step number 3, check. And with each check, you get more enthusiastic. You get more curious to what can happen.
I love ski racing, and Cortina is one of my favorite places in the world. So would I come back if it wasn't Cortina? I don't know if I would. That's kind of been something that when I retired, I was really sad about, because Cortina is like a home race for me. It would be really special if I could compete there. So it's definitely been a carrot that's been dangling.
Can you hear Lindsey talking about both extrinsic and intrinsic motivation? I like to think about extrinsic motivation as the trophy. And for her, being able to go and compete in the Cortina Olympics and obviously be at another Olympics and race again, there's a lot of extrinsic motivation there. But she says she loves ski racing. She's always loved ski racing. And that's the intrinsic motivation, what I call heart motivation. And you need both. I love my trophy. I hope you love your trophy, whatever that trophy is for you. But you also have to have that heart motivation. If you don't have the heart motivation, you're only focused on the trophy, that is the quickest way to burn out. It is the quickest way to getting tired, exhausted, frustrated, angry, anxious. You want to love what you do in addition to having whatever your trophy, as Lindsey called it, this, the little carrot dangling in front of you that you want to catch. So ask yourself right now, what is your trophy that you're chasing? What is your heart motivation that you're living each and every day?
I think that's one thing that I actually really love about skiing, is that there is a risk, and you have to be focused, and you have to be ready, and you have to take those risks, and you can't be afraid. And it's so similar to just life in general. You have to keep moving. You have to push yourself, and you have to be out of your comfort zone. You'll never make progress unless you push yourself. And sometimes I push myself past the limit, and that's caused problems for me. It's caused me to crash a few times. But I think those types of risks are worth taking. I wouldn't have done as well as I have in my career had I not taken those risks. So I could be afraid, but then I would never get anywhere in life. I just want people to think bigger, and believe in themselves more and push the envelope more,
Taking risks, it's a must. And what are you risking? Well, it really varies whatever you're pursuing in life. For some people, like Lindsey Vonn, you're risking limb. For some people, maybe you're risking life. For all of us, we're risking embarrassment, we're risking failure, whatever failure would look like for you. There's a lot of risk involved, and you have to be willing to take it. Now, is it about being fearless? I don't know. I think when Lindsey says that she can't be afraid, I don't know because we have not spoken, but I believe what she's saying is in the moment when she's about to go and compete, fear is not factoring in because she wants it more than she fears whatever she's afraid of. So you have to want success more than you fear anything else.
I mean, you crash so many times. You just fall and you get back up. And, the longer you take to get back up, the harder it becomes. You just got to do it. The next day is a new day. Your past does not dictate your future. So I learn from my mistakes. I watch my videos. I always watch my crashes.
Yeah.
I learn and then I erase and I move forward.
This might be my favorite line. Learn and erase. Now, do we completely erase it from our memory? Probably not. I'm sure Lindsey can still remember all of her crashes and all of her falls and, not probably all of her mistakes, but many. But in the moment, again, we're talking about in the moment when you're about to perform, it is not part of her focus. It is not part of her storytelling. She watches her crashes, as she says. She watches all of her performances. She learns. She erases because now she's in the now. Well, now she's in the now. She's in the present moment. So are you learning and then erasing? Are you able to do that? If not, start practicing that skill. And now is a perfect opportunity to share that if you really want to learn these tools and finesse them and develop them so that you can use them to perform your best, if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'm here for you. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you never miss out on these mental toughness moments. Okay, let's get back to Lindsey's mental toughness tools.
What it's going to take for me to do well at the Olympics is going to come down a lot to how I can manage the pressure and expectation that others put on me, not that I put on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always been someone that's put a lot of expectation on myself.
Yeah.
A lot more than anyone else ever has.
In competition, I believe that the challenge is to get your mind right, your emotions in check, so that your body can do what you've been training it to do. And so when Lindsey said when and if she goes to the Olympics, her biggest challenge will be to manage the expectations. Well, isn't that what we're all doing? Now, she says she needs to manage the expectations that other people will have for her because she's used to her own expectations and she understands what her expectations are. And maybe right now, she doesn't have really any because she's coming back out of retirement with a replacement knee. Although I would bet that she does have some expectations, but she knows how to deal with her own expectations. She is mentally tough in that way. She's now going to have the added pressure of managing other people's expectations. But expectations they are, and that's what we all need to be able to do in high pressure situations, whether it's sport, whether in business, whether it's in anything. When the pressure is high, it's the person that can best get this right, get your emotions in check so that your behavior can be like you've been training it to be. That's the ticket.
Racing in the Olympics is second nature to me. It'll be my 5th Olympics. So, I know how it goes. I'm not going to be surprised by anything. I know what it takes to win. I've done it before, and not many people are in that position, and that experience is huge. I will try to use that to the best of my ability to give me an edge because I will be at a disadvantage. I am 40, and at that time next year I will be 41.
Yeah.
I'm racing against kids that are 22. I know that my skiing acumen and my knowledge of the course will help overcome whatever disadvantage I may have because of my age.
In every situation, It doesn't matter what your situation is. You're going to be at a disadvantage. You're also going to be at an advantage. And it's up to you to focus on your advantages. So Lindsey Vonn, she's competing against 22-year-olds. She's now in her 40s. That's a disadvantage. Is she going to focus on that? The fact that she's physically, obviously twice their age, and maybe not as, well, our bodies just aren't the same as in our 40s as it is in our 20s. But she's not going to focus on that. She's going to focus on all of the advantages that she does have. Her new perception, since she's been away from the sport and now back in it. She's going to talk about her knowledge from all of the years of competing, from her years in the sport compared to other people who might be new at the World Cup competitive level. So it's up to you. What are your advantages? Where do you have an advantage over other people? Where can you create a competitive advantage? And then it's really your responsibility to take ownership of that, to take advantage of that and use that. We all are at a disadvantage in some way. We all have an advantage. And I'm going to ask you to call upon your advantages and use them for the best performance you can have.
I learned who I was without skiing. And now I think that plays into my different perspective, because I don't need to ski. I am Lindsey. I am not a skier. I'm a person that loves to ski. And that's a really big distinction for me and in my mind, in my heart.
I am Lindsey, someone who skis, as opposed to needing to ski or being a skier. I am Lindsey who skis. I don't know what your name is, but I want you to fill in the blanks. I am, your name, a person who does whatever it is that you do. This is not your identity. This is a role that you have in your life right now. And by far, this is probably the best lesson you can learn today, not just for your sport, but also just for your life. Who you are is not what you do. And it's really important. And that is something that Lindsey has been able to learn being away from her sport for 5.5, 6 years. And then she comes back not having her identity wrapped up in ski racing, but being Lindsey Vonn, who is ski racing as part of her life. And it's the greatest thing that you can do as well, because I'll tell you what, in a competitive environment, in a high pressure environment, when the anxiety, when the nervousness, when the energy is already there, the last thing you need to do is add unnecessary negative pressure on yourself, negative stress, which is really unfair to you. We all have lives, and your sport, whatever it is that you're performing in, is just one aspect. I know it's a big one, so I don't want to take that away from you, but it is just one aspect. Now, do you put forth less effort towards it? Absolutely not. But you stand here as a person with all your best attributes, with your top values, and then you expose yourself full of your best self to your sport, to all the other roles in your life. And I will tell you that's going to prevent burnout. It's going to maintain healthy, good motivation. It's going to help you have unshakable confidence and really, truly realize what you're capable of.
It's hard to always have your self-confidence when people constantly tear you down.
And yet, you sort of found a way to use those negative comments as fuel.
You gotta use them for something. It's like, I think whatever you can use to motivate you is good. It does help me get in the right mental state to be able to throw myself down a mountain at 85 miles an hour. It's
gotta be a little angry.
Yeah, you gotta be a little aggressive. It takes a little fire in the belly to have that aggression, and sometimes that helps me.
Where in your life or where in your sport have you had to deal with negativity from other people? When in your life have you had to deal with just negative distractions? Lindsey Vonn, obviously not only an athlete, but a celebrity at that. She receives a lot of criticism And there are two ways to handle it. Now, according to Lindsey, she uses it for fuel. She lets it motivate her. She gets a little angry about it and then uses that anger to really, well, throw herself down the mountain faster. That might work for you. That does work for some people. For other people, it absolutely does not. Anger is not a peak performance emotion for some people. So you have to really know who you are. Are you someone that really can work under that anger? Or do you need to press mute on that anger, push it aside, shelf it, and create space for challenge and enthusiasm? That's a question only you can answer. But if you really want to know, start diving deep into this sports psychology stuff. Start really getting at all the mental toughness moments that I've created and subscribe to this channel and really read some books and get to know yourself. Really think about it so that you can understand. Are you someone that can take all that negativity and use it for, motivation? Or are you someone that needs to take that negativity, press mute on it, shelf it, block it out? And there are ways to do that so that you can approach your performance with challenge, passion, confidence, and enthusiasm? It's a good question for you to ask yourself.